Main topic this week. Well, England have lost the series in India. They are 3-1 down after 4 test matches, with a 5th test starting on Thursday in Dharamshala up in the Himalayas, which looks the absolute nuts. Like, what a place that would be to go and play cricket. My first question is, can England recover to a 3-2 defeat in this series? And if they can, should that be considered a positive? Or if they go on to lose the series 4-1, have we actually learned anything about Bazball, or are we kind of back where we were pre-Bazball?
I think they can win the last test and make it 3-2, because I have had that, like, we just know what they're capable of. They just I don't think they've brought it all together in parts enough of the time. Like, in that 4th test, spoken about a lot, it felt like England, if you were breaking it down into a session by session basis, England probably won more than India in that particular test match. The other two, perhaps not. But it certainly felt like, again, we were in a very strong position. And yeah, it was just a bit of a shambolic collapse with the bat, wasn't it, really? And then I remember listening to it on the way to Gatwick when India were batting, and I think it was Shoaib Bashir who took 2 wickets in 2 balls, and there'd been 2 early wickets an hour and a half prior to that as well.
Yeah.
And you thought, right, this is it. We're still in the game, definitely still in the game. And then it just kind of drifted. And India obviously batted pretty well, and there was still so much time left in the game. That was never going to be an issue. But I think it would be a positive if they did manage to win 2 out of the 5 test matches, considering perhaps the majority of the narrative and the predictions around it going into the series. I just think that there have been times they haven't necessarily capitalised where they perhaps could have done. So I guess that's the Bazball bit that people will be most frustrated about, because it's almost like it just needs fine-tuning a little bit more against the likes of India, Australia, in order to really kick on. But Bazball's here to stay.
As it should be. I think there were some people kind of talking about whether England had almost given up on it a little bit. And there were moments when England were batting in a couple of these tests, and I kind of thought, don't really know what you're trying to do here. It was the big run chase, or the bat like 2 days in a session to draw the test match, or something ridiculous. And you've got people kind of going, well, why didn't they bat properly? It's like, well, they weren't going to bat for 7 sessions to draw a test match anyway, lads. Like, that's not going to happen. That doesn't happen. That barely ever happened. It might never have happened, to be fair, in the history of cricket. And if they'd have batted for 7 sessions, they'd have won anyway. I don't necessarily think England ever gave up on it. I think it's been the hardest test that this team have ever had. And although India have been missing a lot of key players, I think pound for pound, and with Australia as well, I think you're picking more Indians and more Australians to make a Test 11 than you are with this current England team. I think some of the players that England have missed in this series, Jack Leach in particular, I think has had as big of an impact on this England team, if not bigger, than what someone like Virat Kohli has had for India. I think Kohli's been replaced, and he's been replaced really well, with a bunch of guys that have been scoring an absolute bucket load of runs in the Ranji Trophy. Sarfraz has been averaging 70 in the competition, and he's been brought in to bat in the middle order, and he's done well. Shock horror. Leach, on the other hand, are the 2 spinners that have gone into this test series have never played a test match before. Like, Shoaib Bashir a year and a half ago was playing club cricket in Guildford, I think. There is such a huge kind of gap between experience, not necessarily quality, but experience, between Leach and Hartley and Bashir. And I don't know whether Leach would have bowled much better than Hartley and Bashir, but you'd like to think that his number of Test matches would have added a lot of value with regards to experience. And I just think this test is going to be a really telling thing for England. It's going to be so telling because old England gets rolled for about 65 in the first innings in this 5th Test match because they don't care. The series is lost and it doesn't matter anymore. It's whatever. This England team, however, I think it speaks volumes if they go out there and really perform well. I think if they kind of show an old England, I think that's where I think people start getting a little bit like, I don't know, do you actually believe in this now? Do you fully believe in what you've set out?
Yeah, and I think they've got more kind of pride in wearing the 3 lines on their shirt than those naysayers might appreciate. So I don't think that they'll be seeing it as like a nothing game, if that makes sense. Like, ultimately it's another game to represent your country, and I guess just try and, well, one, obviously celebrate Johnny Bairstow's potential milestone in bringing up 100 Test matches for England.
He's going to
and
get it. They're not going to play. They're not just going to play Dan Lawrence now in the 5th Test. He's playing 100 Test matches, Joe.
Imagine. And yeah, I guess just assert their kind of imprint on the team and really nail down some, I guess, personal work-ons in what will undoubtedly be another tough Test match against this Indian team. And obviously, knowing that Bumrah's back in the team as well, puts a little bit of extra pressure on those batters and whatever. But yeah, if they came away with 3-2, I don't think that too many fans could grumble with it. And yeah, I don't think that they will get rolled how they might have done in times gone by, because I think they care about it a bit more than that.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it'll be a really good test. You mentioned Johnny Bairstow has played 99 Test matches, will almost certainly pick up his 100th cap this week, which is quite a ridiculous achievement, and he's been subject to a fair bit of criticism over his career with performances and this, that, and the other. And I think he said today about the fact that, like, no, I don't think anybody could ever accuse him of not actually caring and not giving his absolute everything. And I think he is probably a bit of an outlier in that old guard. Him and probably Stokes are the two that you kind of genuinely thought did like properly care, and it did really affect them. There was an article on ESPN actually with a couple of like fun stats with regards to people that have played 100 Test matches. No surprises, but Matthias Muralitharan has taken the most Test wickets in 100 Test matches, as 593. Steve Smith, the most Test runs in 100 Test matches, 9,137. Brendan McCullum didn't miss a Test match between his first and his 100th one. Alistair Cook, he's the shortest time frame between his first and his 100th Test of 7 years and 287 days. I think he only missed one actually in his entire career, didn't he? I think. 77 matches missed by Graham Gooch before playing his 100th Test are the most. How have you missed 77 tests between that?
It's wild, isn't it?
Well, I do know why. Because he got banned, because he went off and played in that Rebel Tour for South Africa. That would be why he missed those 77 matches. Matt Hayden actually was another one, 66. Number of players to reach the milestone of 100 Test matches during the 2006 Centurion Test between South Africa and New Zealand: Jacques Kallis, Sean Pollock and Stephen Fleming. 17 England players have done it. Bairstow will be the 17th, assuming he makes his 100th appearance. There's a lot of good. I like cricket stats. Cricket stats are good fun. They're nice numbers, aren't they, just to look at? And they come up with cool things. I think Tim Southey, Kane Williamson and Ravichandran Ashwin, I think, are all on 99 as well. So there's going to be 4 new members of the 100 cap club, which I've now just penned. It's a thing.
Yeah, it is pretty cool when you see like how much like the stats and stuff can be broken down. I think just on that, the gap in between the debut and the 100th Test. Am I right in thinking that Bairstow, number of tests missed between debut and 100th Test? Bairstow's is like 51, isn't it?
Yeah.
He obviously had his time out of the side, whether that was through form or whatever, and then obviously the nasty leg injury last year and what have you. Like, that seems like a lot, doesn't it? 51.
It's a long test.
Yeah. But kudos to him. He's stuck at it. Not always been in the side as a wicket keeper, obviously, as he isn't now with folks in the team. There was a time when Butler was keeping and all things like that. So yeah, he's been on a bit of a test match roller coaster, and I'm sure it will be a nice occasion for him this week, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Johnny. Well done.